Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. This is not really going to be a reading, but we're going to pull out some cards, so stick around. This message is mainly for people who have felt unloved. It doesn't matter if it's from your family or from friends or whatever. The energies I've been feeling lately have been very, very, very cruel. And sorry, I'm just trying to adjust this. So, first of all, to all the LGBTQ, whatever else people, to all of us, right? Some of us didn't get much of anything growing up. We didn't get the support we needed. We didn't get the love or recognition or any of it. But it shaped us into who we are. Others did receive it, and it shaped them into who they are. Neither side can really, and I don't really like using this word, but neither of us can complain about what happened because it shaped us into who we are. And if we're going to complain about what happened, that means we're complaining about who we are. And who we are, we have complete control over to change and improve. Some of us grew up with people in our lives who told us to literally eat shit and choke on it and die for years on end. Others were told that they're loved every day. Others were told they're loved every time they left the room or they entered the room. Some had supportive parents, some had detrimental parents. Some had really terrible siblings, and some had really supportive siblings. Some people didn't have parents, some people do, so on and so forth. So I want you, whoever you are, wherever you are, to take a moment with me and just know that I see your pain. I know that what you've been through has not been easy, whether people think it was easy or not. Nobody knows the silent struggles you went through. Nobody knows how you suffered in ways that they thought you were being dramatic or childish or complaining. Nobody knows the pain you felt but you and your God. And if you've been trying to get sympathy, compassion, empathy from people in your family, for example, who were supposed to be there for you unconditionally, even extended family or chosen family, then I'm asking you, as someone who's been through things that you wouldn't even believe, because it's so fucking outlandish what I've been through that if I tried to explain it, it would sound like I'm making shit up or repeating movies to you. But I experienced it. I felt it. I saw it. I heard it. I bled through it. I cried through it. I sweat through it. And nobody was there. And when I asked for help, they said I was being dramatic and I should let it go. So let me tell you, you don't have to let it go. But what you do have to let go of is the expectation of being seen, heard, validated, and healed by anyone other than yourself. On a cosmic level, we signed up for everything that we're going through. On a subconscious level, The choices you made, you knew what the outcome would be, and you chose that outcome so that you could experience and learn what you needed to experience and learn from. Why is beyond me. That answer is only known to you. What I can tell you is that you're not alone in your suffering. You might be physically alone, but the tragic part of life is that everyone suffers. And I know that's not much, it's not really something that would make you feel better or that's supposed to take the pain away. But it is truth. We all have our demons, we all have our history. What matters is now, and how much longer are you going to allow what was done to you to remain what was done to you instead of what was done for you. I can go into religion, I can go into mythology, I can go into fiction and non-fiction, I can go into different parallel realities, I can dig to the depths of existence to bring you answers, but none of them will mean anything if you're holding on to things that poison you while others say, why are you so mean, or why are you, hurting, why are you doing this to yourself? I know why. For the most part, I know why. We hurt ourselves so that other people can see we're hurt in a way that they can perceive that pain. It's kind of like someone I knew when I was, doesn't matter, someone I knew, she would cut herself, and she would only cut herself around her thighs where nobody would see. And I saw it once, I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, nothing, I just need to feel. And I'm like, there's better things to feel, And she just continued to do it for years. And then finally, when her mother saw her, she stopped. When she received a hug from her mother, she stopped. Some of us don't have that luxury. Some of us go to our mother and our fathers, and they simply blame us for accusing them of being bad parents. They don't hear our pain. They hear their failure. They hear their own guilty conscience, because deep down inside they know they didn't do everything they could have. Now, this doesn't justify the behavior, and the ends do not justify the means. What it does justify is that your pain is valid, and their failure is valid, but also the way that they did good in your life is also valid. So when we hold on to such pain, what we attract is, let me give you this metaphor that God's giving me now. If you throw a piece of paper onto the dirt, that piece of paper will biodegrade, and tiny forms of life will be there to devour that piece of paper. Different forms of bacteria, different forms of, bugs and insects that bring that piece of paper back into the rhythm of nature. If you throw a piece of plastic, different beings and energies consume that plastic. Slower, maybe more, with more force, with less regard for the plastic, so to speak. And if you throw, if you bury a corpse into the ground in a coffin, then it's yet again different forms of bacteria and life forms that consume that corpse to bring it back into rhythm. Now, if you're holding on to pain and expecting it to somehow be noticed by others so that you can be healed and that you can give yourself permission to heal, what you're actually doing is attracting energies, entities, and beings that want to consume that pain so that you can be free of it, so that you can go back to the rhythm of nature. Because you are life. They cannot consume life. They consume what prevents life from living. Hence, the archons. The archons are there, but they are not just there in every fucking version of reality. They're there in the way we perceive them in this reality. Because in this reality, we've held on to things that have attracted the need for those things to exist so that we can be rid of what it is we've been holding on to that has been preventing us from living. So as long as you're holding on to the pain and expecting angels to heal you, what you'll get is archons to remove that pain from you in any which way that they can. Whether it's through the control of the mind, the control of societies, the erasure of memories, the removal of people in your life, or the entire control of your existence. Because on a divine level, they're trying to help you. Just like a roly-poly attempts to eat plastic or something, you know? It's not there hurting the ground, it's there eating the plastic, but it's dragging itself through the dirt to do something. I discovered today that I've held on to things that have attracted things towards me that weren't supposed to be there. But at the same time, they are supposed to be there because I've held on to things that weren't supposed to be there. But the things I held on to were also supposed to be there because I was supposed to learn and experience something due to those things being there. So there's no one to blame. Not your parents, not your siblings, and not yourself. There is no one to punish. There is no one to redeem. And there is nothing to heal right now. Right now, what needs to happen is that you have to let everybody off the hook. You simply must. Because your progress in life has been stopped due to, and even if you think your progress in life hasn't been stopped, it has, in a way, due to what you've held on to. Because you and your potential are limitless, and what you're experiencing is a mere shadow of what you could actually have. So, for just a moment, I want you to play pretend. Not that everything has been okay in your life. No. Not that everything's going to be okay, because we all know there's good and bad in everything. We're going to play pretend that you are strong enough and wise enough to accept what you've been through in order for you to be who you are and who you want to be and who you are becoming. It was all ingredients in the tapestry, the cake, the dinner that makes you, that you make. If you're trying to sew something that's ripped, you have to make tiny little holes into it to bring string through it to stitch it up. We cannot have healing without pain, and we cannot have pain without healing. And if we hold on to one side and say, you did this to me, then the other side will say, well, you did this to me. If we let it all go and say, oh, it's all fine, never mind, I'm okay, then we're betraying ourselves. Therefore, we get betrayed. So instead of playing all these back and forth psychological games and putting titles on them and labels on people and classifying ourselves with diseases or illnesses for just this moment in time, pretend that you are okay with everything that happened. All of it. I know it's not easy, but if it was easy, even if it was easy, I don't think you would have done it already, because there's something you wanted. There's something you needed. That's why you've held on to something that's hurt you for so long. You fragmented yourself into billions of different pieces, handing that pain from one to the other, until you stopped hearing the screams inside you, and all they became was laughter at how much longer are you going to torment yourself. So for just this moment, pretend that everything you've been through is a book that you've closed. Stop reading it. Don't even put that book on the shelf somewhere far away where you can read it again. Take that book and throw it back into God's heart. You don't need it anymore. Now we write a new story. And this new story doesn't have to have any of the old characters. This new story does not have to have any of the old bullshit. What the story has is you with your origin story engraved inside you. Every scar, every tear, every breath you couldn't take, and every breath you couldn't release because of the pain. That's the main character of your story. So now, if your life is a movie, and you've been paused at the part where you're hoping that the next scene is the one where the character gets hugged, or justice prevails, or the divine intervenes, it'll never be that way. Because you yourself are the divine that is intervening in your life. Pretend for just a moment that you're inhabiting your body because you came to rescue the soul that your body is. That the higher version of you came down into this version of you to get this version of you out of this hell. Pretend for just a moment that this version of you is being helped by a greater version of you, a favorite version of you. Not to leave everything behind, but to move forward, one toe at a time. You don't even have to take a step. You don't have to push play. Simply breathe. There's nothing I can say to comfort you. There's nothing I can say to make the pain go away or to erase the past. But there are things I can say in hopes of inspiring you to wipe those tears from your eyes and your soul. Save them in a jar if you want to. They're tears of a god and a goddess, after all. They hold power. Maybe, just maybe, you can use that pain as power. All those things that happened to you, were they really done to you? Or were they done for you? If they were done to you, and you feel victimized, does it feel good to be victimized? It does not. So let's feel something different. Let's utilize the entire spectrum of what we feel and what we're capable of feeling. Because sometimes it's not so easy to go from misery to joy. Sometimes we have to go from misery to anger. Sometimes we stay at anger and we go to boredom, and we stay at boredom. Sometimes we get curious, and then, life blows up in our face and we go back to being angry and sad and alone. And that's okay. For now, just pretend. Pretend that you're the main character in your own story, and everything you've been through was meant for you to go through so that you can be the person that you know you are. And I know there have been moments in your life where you had the choice of choosing to be stronger. And I don't mean holding back the tears or holding your tongue or turning the other cheek. I mean being strong enough to defend your own honor, defend your own heart, defend your own self, sometimes even from yourself. I want you to pretend that you're a superhero, a goddess, an amazing being that's been through something, some things, lots of things no one would ever comprehend. Would this character carry their pain like tattered robes, wandering around villages saying, "Look at me and how much pain I'm in"? Or would this person put on some ridiculously amazing outfit and go out with, like, you know, katanas and bows and arrows and like ride a horse off into the sunset chasing orcs into the mines of Moria or something? I don't know. Like, think about, for example, let's just divert this completely. Think about Galadriel, the being that existed for so long. She saw stars die and be born and die again. She saw trees of life and light bloom and decay. Almost the last of her kind, I think. Now, what would we have thought of Galadriel if she ended up becoming a crying, withering, decaying, aging, grieving mess, left alone, unwanted, uncared for, and all she ever did was cry for help? We'd look at her like she's weak, right? That's the immediate response most people have. Why is she so weak? Why isn't she getting over it? Why isn't she letting it go? Let it go, right? Now, that strength that it took a character like that to carry herself forward with grace is the strength you know you have inside you that you avoid utilizing, because some part of you probably thinks that if you embody that strength, that you're giving up on receiving the healing you think you need. Kind of like if I'm holding a burning star within my hand and it burns and burns and burns and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds, and I'm like, please somebody help me, I'm holding the star and it hurts. And everyone's like, let it go, let it go, let it go. But to you, you're holding the star and it's destroying you. But you don't want to let it go because you want somebody to show you that they care enough to come hurt with you, to help open your hand so that the star can just go on its own. It doesn't work that way, because the society we live in thinks that when people are suffering, they are paying for karma. They don't see compassion, they see payback. So as long as you hold this into your hand and force yourself to hurt, yes, you remain in some way less narcissistic, but in some way you are taking the role of narcissist to a new level, because you dig yourself into the victim state. So in order to get out of that state, you have to embody the categorizations of the perpetrator and the villain slightly, or whatever, hero, villain, perpetrator thing. So if you hold this in pain, you're the victim. If you let it go and it hurts someone else, you become the villain. If you show it to someone and they take it, then you become the perpetrator and villain in their story. How can you become your own hero? You don't discard something that you were given just because it hurts. You don't give it to someone else to hurt them, because then the pain just continues. What you do is take it and utilize a different energy to hold it with. Some of us aren't ready to let go of that pain. And if you're not, then that's okay. But until you are, pretend that this pain was a gift. Pretend that that mother that didn't care enough for you was actually a gift. For whatever reason. Maybe to teach you how to care for yourself better. Pretend that that father that hurt you or whatever that the relatives and uncles did to you was, for your benefit. Kind of makes you sick to your stomach, doesn't it? But if you embody a different energy, let's say, I don't know if you know narcissists, but I'm sure you do. You know how some people just lack empathy and the capacity to feel anything. Let's say you're one of those people for just 10 seconds, and you're holding this thing that hurts you. What would you do? Why the fuck would I hold on to that? I got better shit to do. But in order to feel that, you have to feel something different, which means for that few moments, you're not looking for help anymore. What you're looking for is something to feel good about, right? It's an immediate 180 from victim to villain, at least in the perceptions of society. But in the perception of your life, you're letting yourself let that pain go so you can do something beneficial for yourself, which means you're taking care of yourself. And the moment you feel better, you can come back and look at this in a different angle and realize it was never meant to hurt you. It was meant to help you hold things in place. You are not just a light worker or a Reiki healer or a transgender or whatever the fuck you think you are. You are all of it. And if you keep yourself pigeonholed in specific emotions to get specific responses from specific people, then what you're doing is hurting yourself, because those people do not have the awareness to see what you feel. They only see how you act, and the only resources they have to correlate what you're going through is the movies and the experiences they've had, which in the recent 100+ years have not been very good examples of human decency. So what you're expecting out of people is valid, but it is not something you're going to get from other people. Because the way you feel and the way you think prevents those people from being around you, because what you're attracting are the energies that feed off the pain. And those energies become demonized. And instead of working with archons and aeons and demons and angels, what we do is demonize one side and run to the other. The angels, aeons, have really no regard for your pain or suffering. If they did, children wouldn't be molested. Wars wouldn't happen. People wouldn't be burned and hung and killed and raped and blah, blah, blah. God, clear all that negative talk, please. Thank you. And the demons even. They do a job. You're a being with empathy. And I hesitate to say human because most of you are not human. And that's okay. It's okay. Whatever you are is okay. It doesn't matter to anyone else but you. I don't care if you're a fluffy pink unicorn or an attack helicopter. I don't care if you're non-binary, gay, lesbian, bisexual, a fucking rampaging warlord that's destroyed billions of lives, or a nun in a monastery that's never seen any form of pain in her life. She's only seen the faith of God. It doesn't matter. What matters is you and how you treat yourself in the regards of how much you allow pain to live within you without putting it to work. Think about it this way. There's electricity. If you hold electricity with your bare hands, some of you get fried. Others of you channel that electricity out of the other hand and you shoot it out by lightning. Others put that electricity through cables and metals to channel it to power technology. Others find ways to utilize that electricity to channel energy across the entire planet from one point to the other wirelessly. Others use that electricity to boost themselves off of the planet and into the atmospheres. Others use it to look back into the past by looking up at the sky, into the stars. And the electricity and the pain you hold within you has a purpose. And as a creator being, that purpose is to create something with it. So what can you create with what you've felt, what you've been through, and the stories that flood your soul through your heart and your blood? It is yours. What can you do with it? Yes, you held on to it. Yes, you have people to blame. Yes, people need to apologize. And yes, there are people who never will. So the power is in your hands, and the pain is in your heart, and the words are in your mind. What do you do with them? Because holding on to them is no longer an option. So, do you create a new deck of tarot cards? Do you create a masterpiece to your own eyes, even if it's done with crayons? Do you write a story that ends up becoming a movie that helps some children, 20 years from now, like 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now? Do you use that pain to create technology that helps people heal from pain? You know an aspect of pain that no one else does, because you're the only one who experienced it the way you experienced it. So how can you take the burning star within you and kindle it into something that others can be illuminated by? Think about it for a while. And think about it in the way where it's something you needed. So if you're going through what you're going through and there's something you need, how can you create what you need, but not just selfishly? So let's say you needed the role of a mother figure in your life, or the role of, I don't know, a father figure, something we all have in common, right? And you have all that pain. What can you do with what you've been through to support other people who are going through similar situations that do not have the resources, the friends, family, etc., to create something? They just don't know yet because they're too much in pain. You're here right now because God thinks and knows that you have the power within you to make a difference. But you have to, for just a moment, pretend to be someone who can handle what you've been through. I know you can handle it. I know you can set it down and create something and hold your head up high and walk like the king and queen you are. But do you? Can you, for just a moment, pretend that the pain that was imposed upon you was gifted to you so that you can gift the remedy of that pain to others? In Vedic astrology, I'm not sure which nakshatra it is, but it's one of the ones that have close ties to Scorpio, where they take the venom, the poison, and they make medicine out of it. Now, you've been poisoned by your own thoughts, emotions, and actions of those around you, as well as your own. Now it's time to make medicine out of it. You might not benefit from it, but the smile you'll see, the thanks you'll receive from those that you will help and how much you will have helped them progress in their life will mean more to you than any healing you could have received. Because when you're ready, you will have that epiphany and you will recognize that you became your own healer and that you have the power to turn any pain into gold, into smiles. So please stop suffering for just a moment and create something out of that suffering. Draw it, write it, sing it, dance it, scream it, but do not sit there and cry without having your hands create something that is being washed by those tears. Do you hear me? I think that's all that needs to be said regarding that. Now I'm going to pull you some cards as clarification and what advice what you need to hear. Take a deep breath, my love. Take a deep breath. Three of Wands, the Strength, and the Six of Pentacles. Work on what you are waiting for. Work on it as if you have the strength to do so. Work on it as if you are already succeeding in it and that you are helping someone else. That which you seek is already within you. The help you are seeking is the help you are here to give. The ships you are waiting for are the ships you're supposed to help bring into the dock for someone else as well. So you cannot sit there waiting for it to come in. You have to put that effort into bringing all these aspects of yourself into harmony, even with the pain, even with the fear. Eight of Wands. You're starting to recognize what it is you need to be doing. You're starting to recognize that the blockages and the messages and the conflict, the stability, the things you walked away from, the things you fought through, the things you denied yourself, the things you denied others from you, were all meant to occur in some way through the tapestry of destiny to bring you to who you are now, to this moment in time, so that you can recognize within you that pain is a gift. And feeling unloved taught you how to love more. Seven of Pentacles and the Six of Wands. That the seeds that were planted and the ones that were destroyed and killed and trampled over, it was all destined to happen this way. Whether you believe in destiny or fate is irrelevant, because you created the series of events that occurred based on the choices you made at every intersection of the timeline. So if there was a decision you could have made that would have taken you in a different direction, you didn't make that. You made a decision that took you into the direction you've been in. If there was something you could have said to someone, you didn't say it, or you did, which took you into a direction where you did or you didn't say that thing. Are you comprehending this? Everything you did happened for the reason of you choosing that thing to occur. Now, we can't control what comes towards us, but we can control how the words that come out of our mouth come out of our mouth and what those words are. You will be more successful than you can imagine. But first, you must recognize within you that even if you're all alone, that's your gift too. Some of the greatest artists in history were people who were alone and who went through great suffering. And they took that suffering and offered it to the world so that the world would have a light in the dark when all other lights went out. Your light can shine because you were in that dark, farther ahead or deeper down than others were. Share your story. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter with like pencil or paper or YouTube videos or maybe song lyrics or a poem. Just write it. Get it out of you. But get it out of you in a way that's tangible and can be shown to someone else. The Six of Pentacles. Get it out of you in a way where it grows beneficially somewhere else, like a flower planted in dirt. Get it out of you in a way where it brings other people together in healing. Get it out of you in a way where it shows other people that they're not alone. Even though you felt like you're alone and nobody was there for you in the way you needed them, you can prevent that from happening to someone else. And that is a gift. Any other advice? Five of Cups. The Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck. If you can take this Five of Cups energy that you feel, communicate it emotionally, logically, and put it into the physical world as something others can see, then you will have found the strength within you to look at failures and harvests, and to look at patience and delay as a gift that teaches you how to be grateful for what's around you, how to take care of yourself, how to pay your bills on time, how to communicate properly, etc., etc. The pain is your gift. God, you gotta give me something better to say to these people right now, please. Seven of Pentacles, again, an Ace of Pentacles. This pain is your gift. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm so sorry for what you've been through. Bottom of the deck, High Priestess. Splitting the deck, the Moon. I know, feels like you're drowning. Feels like no one can see or hear your pain. I know. The Hermit, like you're all alone. And no one can even get close to you because of how much you've hurt and the boundaries you've built. And that you're too harsh, that you're too cold. Well, my love, you're not. The reason they can't get close to you is because you've been holding on to that pain so much that they can't get near that threshold. It's like a force field. The only things that can get through are the things that thrive off that pain, which is probably why you've had so many bullshit people in your life. Ten of Swords. Let those go. Look at the beauty in this. Barren, alone, everything being done. There's a beautiful sky and those beautiful birds. And you're okay. There are no swords in your back, none in your heart, and none anywhere to be seen, other than in your mind. Let it go. And I don't mean forget about it. I don't mean, push it away or bottle it. I mean, create something with it and share it. You have no idea how many people you can help, even if they never thank you. You have no idea the simple things that change on the timeline when you create something and you put it out there. Queen of Wands, create something and put it out there. Now look at what I just noticed here. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Cups. That's perfect actually, but she's using her hands to push that energy into some creation. All the things she went through. He's using his hands to push that energy into something, to grow everything. This being is using its hands, dripping in tears to give you something. And now the hands are free, and what you hold is your power to create. See that? And here, both hands are wide open, ready to receive from the universe. So what does this say? It's a step-by-step process. The first step is acknowledging what you've been through and what you're waiting for. The next step is being strong enough to acknowledge that it's not coming from anyone other than you. The next step is creating something and giving it to someone else so that they can heal from what you went through that no one saved you from. Step after that is communicating regarding what you've been through, how you healed, and how you moved forward. And that communication with the Eight of Wands here becomes the energy for others to move through what they fear to move through. It'll bring people together, and once those people are together, more things can be shared and opened up with, which allow the healing of what occurred and what will occur in the future. But you won't be alone through it anymore. The path to healing is through the pain. And the remedy for the pain is to use that pain to create something. I love you, and I hope this serves you. If you need me, you can email me at eveofsophia@hotmail.com. That's EVEOFSOPHIA@hotmail.com. If you need a private reading, the information's in the description box. Yeah. I love you. Take care of yourself.